Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has hidden unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure, or admire an old one. What will we find today? Let's dig in. Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
Midway through 1 Samuel, God rejected King Saul and chose a new king for his people. But Saul remained on the throne for another 15 years, spending much of his time jealously watching, chasing, and trying to kill the next king. Samuel anointed David king when he was very young, a shepherd. David didn't have any leadership experience except leading sheep. He didn't have any battle experience except fighting wild animals to protect his sheep. But he had potential because of what God saw in his heart. God's one ad might have read, "Needed, King of Israel, no experience necessary, in search of man after God's own heart, no others need apply." During the 15 years or so between when David was anointed king and when Saul died, God prepared David to lead his people. He arranged for David to play the harp for Saul so he could observe the everyday workings of the government. He had the opportunity to fight Goliath and marry the king's daughter and lead troops into battle. Then, when Saul began hunting David, God sent him all the outcasts, his relatives, those in distress, those who were discontented, all for his own personal army. God taught him to take that rabble of 400 and make them into a tough group of mighty men. Their numbers swelled to 600, and they fought the Philistines and protected God's sheep, all while Saul was hunting David down. Throughout this time, God protected David. Saul sought him every day. But the Bible says, but God did not give him into his hand. God was protecting David. At one point, as Saul and his men closed in on David, a runner brought a message that the Philistines had attacked, so Saul had to postpone his pursuit of David. Another time, Saul happened to choose the cave that David and his men were hiding in to relieve himself. David's men thought sure David would seize the opportunity and kill Saul, but he refused, only cutting off a piece of Saul's robe to confront him with later. Another time, David and his men snuck into Saul's camp and stole his sword and a water jug while God supernaturally kept everyone asleep. Our but God protected David and his men, teaching and growing David into the leader that God wanted him to be. Looking back over your life, I'm sure you can see God's hand and how He protected and taught and prepared you in little ways as well as in big things. I love how David documented how he was feeling at this time with so many Psalms. Psalm 54 is one of these. As I read it, keep in mind all that David was going through. Then you might want to write your own psalm to thank God for His protection, provision, and preparation of you. Psalm 54 says, "O God, save me by your name and vindicate me by your might. O God, hear my prayer. Give ear to the words of my mouth, for strangers have risen against me. Ruthless men seek my life. They do not set God before themselves. Selah. Behold, God is my helper. The Lord is the upholder of my life. He will return the evil to my enemies. In your faithfulness, put an end to them. With a freewill offering, I will sacrifice to you. I will give thanks to your name, O Lord, for it is good. For He has delivered me from every trouble, and my eye has looked in triumph on my enemies."
As always, we'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to share a treasure, support this ministry, or get Carla to speak at an event, please contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you can find in the description below. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.